Copy review of Last of Us Part 2 has been provided by my wallet.
Broke nigga alert.
Hey everybody, it's Ninoish Gamer here. It's been a while, and I just want to talk about Last of Us for at least not no more than 10 minutes. Because I've made like 20 takes already, and this is bad. I just want to talk about the game. I don't want to go over like every inch in detail of it, but I just want to kind of go through it and talk about it and talk about how I feel. And spoiler is in fact because I don't know if everyone has played it by now or whatever. I don't think anybody has really played it for themselves. Watch other people play it. Anyways, let's get started with it. I'll try to make this as quick as possible. But let's talk about The Last of Us Part 2. Let's review it. Last of Us Part 2 is a interesting game to say the least. Controversial to say the most. Very controversial. Now before I talk about what's obvious, before I address the elephant in the room, let's talk about like the actual gameplay. Let's talk about moving the characters. Let's talk about shooting, combat, violence. What the hell were they thinking at Naughty Dog? They are psychopaths at Naughty Dog. I've never felt like killing a person was so satisfying ever since I played this game. I would always feel somewhat bad. At least like in a game that is like this realistic. Like come on now. Like, oh, how is it realistic? There's infected running around. Oh, look. If I am shooting at people in Grand Theft Auto, I expect them to die. And like and however many hits. I don't expect them to start screaming and begging for their lives. Like what the hell? In this game, it's so gross how bad you could really do some of these people in this game. For example, I'm playing as well. This is already says spoiler alert. So if you're not ready, then that's too bad. I was playing as Abby, Captain Falcon's personal trainer. And I'm running around with the shotgun, and I'm aiming it at this dude's legs, thinking, okay, he'll probably just fall on his face and die. That'll be the end of it, right? No, his leg is gone, okay, but he still has a little bit of a life left in him to scream and yell and plead. You can hear the pain in his voice. It's so gross. It's so nasty. Just hearing the blood just spurt out of his stomp, and he's like he's holding on to his last breath. It made me go insane, but it gave me the biggest crooked, crazy smile I've ever heard. I don't think that shooting in games hasn't been that fun in a while. Just kind of hearing people plead and beg. That sounds so messed up, but whatever. Also, another thing that I think is really cool is that the enemies all have a name, so if, well, at least the human enemies. So if, for example, you're shooting at an enemy and you kill them, and then another one of their friends see them, they'll call their name out. It's a pretty cool touch detail that I thought was amazing, and it made me feel even worse. Even the fucking dogs have names. The dogs, and I'm like the biggest dog person ever. So when I'm playing this game and there's dogs running up on me, I'm just like, oh boy, I don't want to have to kill this dog, but I might have to. And when you shoot the dog and the owner sees it, or at least one of the people who just watch over the dog, and to hear their voice as they call out the dog's name is probably the most terrifying thing I've ever heard, ever. So that the gameplay itself is just solidified already by its combat. But what about everything else? Well, the puzzles are pretty good. They're not too much of like high IQ takes or anything. They're mainly just like, oh, find a way to climb up there. Oh, you got to push this like right here. You got to pull this. It's simple stuff. It's like fifth grader puzzles. That's a terrible analogy, but whatever. I'm moving on. But the game kind of does its thing. It solidifies itself as solid gameplay. It's obvious. It's good. The looting and scavenging feels great. It's good to come out of a fight with no ammo and you're just looking around, crouching around, sneaking around, finding ammo and crafting things. That also goes well with each other too, or hand in hand or whatever. That's pretty satisfying to do. Looting and scavenging is probably like one of my favorite things to do in the game. The jump button is pretty cool. You get like ropes to, like swing around from and jump. You know, ladders. You can climb on ladders. You push like garbage. What do you? The dumpsters to get around and climb up places. You know, the traversal is so good here that it just makes you free. Everything is so seamless. Everything is so it's brought together. And going back to combat, the combat even is so good because you can traverse around like that whole just area. You know, there's places you can for you to hide. You can get through nooks and crannies. You can jump down on things. You know, you could kind of just run around and kind of be free. It's kind of rare, at least for me. I didn't really get stuck at a wall. Like there was always like at least left or right for me to go. You know, you could always like turn around, and it's just a really satisfying thing. The combat, the gameplay is seamless. It flows well together. No frame rate problems. I didn't crash at least once in my 25 hours of gameplay. I didn't crash at least once. I didn't crash. Nothing was the problem. The game ran smoothly. So that's a thumbs up. Including the graphics, that's a big thumbs up. Now, let's talk about where the game kind of loses its street cred, which is the story. I don't want to do a deep dive into the story because that's for people with higher IQs and people who kind of understand what the hell they're doing. Me, on the other hand, I have no clue what I'm doing. I'm just talking in front of my computer, staring at absolutely nothing, and that's that. So, the story is what gives this game its thumbs down to a lot of people. Half of the people are saying the entire game is great, it's fine. And you got one half saying, oh, yeah, this game sucks. And a lot of people are in the middle. A lot of people are saying, you know, the game is good, it's fine, it's just the story that brings it down, which I can understand. There was one point in the game where you play as another character, which is Abby. So, you know, spoilers or anything. I think I already said that. You play as Abby. Now, Abby's entire story is pretty much told in a flashback rather than real time. So there's a point in that story where her flashback becomes a flashback and it disjoints everything. It throws everything kind of it's like throws like a wrench in like what is that saying? It throws a cog in the wrench, or what does it say? Throws a wrench in the why was I saying cog? Okay, anyways, um it kind of just throws a wrench into like the whole like flow of the game. Like it's like, okay, where am I? So for example, I would leave out of the game because I can't just sit here and have a whole gaming marathon. That's kind of hard for me to do. I can't have a gaming marathon, and you guys can't expect me to, just sit and play. So when I came back, I was like, wait a minute, am I still in the flashback, or am I like in the Inception flashback? Like, am I in the flashback? Like, what is happening? So that isn't the main reason why the game brings it down. For me, I look at it like this. When you build an empire with something that you know that people are really invested in and love so much, and for you to just bring down this empire within a span of an hour with Joel dying is almost like it just completely just loses its fault. The ending is so, to me, the ending was like wasted opportunity for me. And I know this is rare, but don't take this the wrong way. I actually enjoyed Abby's story. Abby teaming up with Yara and Lev were like the coolest like duo I've seen in like a really long time, and Yara went out more badass than Joel did, and that is something that kind of bothered me. But I still enjoyed Abby's story. It was action packed. There was a lot of stealth. There was some dramatic moments. It was just a gritty good story compared to Ellie's story, and I felt like they wrote Ellie in such a really stupid way that it kind of bothered me. They wrote Ellie just seeking for revenge, and she was just like, oh, I'm gonna get her, she did this to me, she killed Joel, she took everything away from me. And Ellie along the way is like making these decisions that make her seem like a freaking bonehead. Like it just blows my mind that they were writing some of this stuff and they thought, oh yeah, man, oh yeah, this is hotness. People are gonna lose their minds over that, and people did. Does this game deserve the hate that it's getting? No, not really. I do feel as if that this game does suffer from a lot of missed opportunities and really idiotic, like kind of condescending plot that just doesn't really add up. Would I recommend this to people? Yes. Would I recommend it now? No. Not at this price. The game length is pretty good. Like I said, I beat it in like 25 hours on hard. This game will give you a lot to do. There's even like a new game plus, but the story is like the main problem. The story there's this issue with the story that just makes me want to tell people no. But you can skip a lot of the cutscenes, but still, it's just like, where do I even begin? You're better off, in my opinion, you're better off playing Last of Us Part 1, and you're better off playing Last of Us Left Behind. Those two games are still masterpieces, even though Left Behind is an expansion on Last of Us. Still, those two games make one big masterpiece. I do think that this game should have been at least rewritten, or the ending could have been redone, or some of the things just could have been written and fleshed out a bit more than what they were. The game is good. The story suffers. It's almost as if you're at a funeral and the person who's dead is not actually dead. This is a terrible analogy. I'm giving it a 6 out of 10. Duh. Sorry, I'm not gonna bash on this game. The story is just really what put me at a cross. The game is good. Everything is done really well. But I just don't understand what Naughty Dog's plan or goal was with this story. If you make a Last of Us Part 3, which I don't think they should. The first game ended off on such a good note that it just didn't need a sequel. It didn't really warrant a sequel. But now that we got a sequel, it's here. The damage can't be undone. So there we go. That was my review or impressions, whatever you want to call it, since this was so messy, and I know I have to do a couple of editing because I'm over here stuttering and spitting everywhere. I'm gonna review another game soon. I don't know if I'll review Ghost of Tsushima or not. But just stay tuned. There might be like some gameplay videos or something, I don't know. This was really fun to do. This is like my 22nd take. I've been trying to record for like 2 hours, and I literally just got finished. Like, hopefully this comes out the way how I want it to. Hopefully you can't hear my air conditioner in the background because that bitch is loud. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys soon, hopefully. Thank you.